Hey you guys, welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan. Today's video, I am going to be showing you guys how to make 3 Korean sauces that you can use in a variety of different ways. So I mentioned and I used a couple of these sauces in my Korean barbecue mukbang video. So if you guys haven't seen that, I will leave a link to that down below. That might give you a little bit more context as to how to use these sauces. Now these are really versatile, like I said, and you can pretty much use them in whatever way you want, okay? I'll give you a few ideas along the way, but just remember that there are no rules and you can do whatever you please. At least that's what I believe. Anyways, I also made a video for a bulgogi sauce, which will be coming out shortly, so stay tuned for that. And trust me, you don't want to miss that one, so don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss that video and also future videos. Anyways, let's just get on with this video, okay? Alright, so the first sauce is literally the easiest thing in the world. We are just going to add a bit of salt into a little container, or you can add it into a small dish. And then we are going to pour some toasted sesame oil into that mixture, and then we are going to mix that up, and that's pretty much it. Now you can add pepper in there as well if you want. I didn't, but feel free to do that. And I know it's like seems ridiculously easy and ridiculous, but trust me, it's ridiculously delicious and I'm pretty sure it will change your life, okay? So normally this is used in Korean barbecue and people dip their meat into this sauce, but of course we are vegan, so let's dip some fried tofu. Yes! And you can use this dipping sauce for whatever you please. I think mushrooms go so well with this, just like grilled mushrooms, delicious. And I also fried up some Brussels sprouts, and that went really well as well. I mean, it just goes. You know, it just kind of enhances a savory dish, okay? So you want to dip savory things into it, okay? So here's me grilling some mushrooms, dipping it into the sauce, and enjoying it very much so. The next recipe is going to be a spicy dipping sauce sort of thing. It's a little bit tangy and delicious, and it is also featured in my ebook. If you guys haven't checked out my ebook, check out the link in the description box. There are many easy, delicious recipes on there. Anyways, we are going to add some white vinegar into a bowl. Now, I started it in a container. That was a mistake, okay? I was trying to be lazy and wash less dishes, but it just did not work out. Okay, so use a bowl, it's easier. Anyways, I'm adding some gochujang. This is spicy Korean red pepper paste. Gochujang, I talk about it all the time, and you can find this in Korean supermarkets. And then we're gonna mix that up, and this is when I realized I made a mistake, so I'm just gonna transfer that over to a bowl, and then we're adding some maple syrup. And then as you can see here, I'm trying to mix it with some chopsticks, and I realized that this wasn't efficient, so I switched to a fork. The gochujang is quite thick, so it takes a bit of work to mix. You can of course use a blender as well, because that might make life easier, but apparently I don't want to make life easier, so yeah. We're also adding a little drop of toasted sesame oil, because that stuff is the bomb diggity. And we're adding garlic powder, and as you can see, I spilt like half the bag into the bowl. This is what happens when you don't really measure sometimes, okay? But you know what? I like garlic, so it worked out. You can also add fresh garlic, but I got lazy, of course, and garlic powder does the trick. And apparently lots of it. And of course, along the way, you can always give it a little taste. So dip your finger in there and give it a taste. And at the end, we're adding some toasted sesame seeds. And now that it is finally made, we're going to transfer it back to that initial container that I tried to make it in before. But yeah, okay. Now this sauce is probably the most versatile out of pretty much all of the sauces that I'm showing you guys here, because you can literally use it for everything, okay? So here I am just dipping some Korean style savory pancakes into the sauce, and yes, the recipe for these pancakes is available in my ebook, so check that out. And I sometimes like to use it as a salad dressing. If I want kind of a nice spicy salad dressing, I will just use a little bit of this sauce. A little goes a long way. And I also like to use this sometimes if I want to have like cold Korean style noodles. You can just make whatever type of noodles and then just add a little bit of the sauce and it tastes delicious. So if you like spicy stuff, this is the bomb. The next sauce I'm going to show you guys is basically a very thick and also spicy and salty paste that we use very frequently, especially to wrap lettuce wraps or any other type of like leaf wraps that Korean people like to make. I'll show you guys how to make it and I'll show you guys different ways to use it. So first thing you're going to need is fermented soybean paste. Okay, so you guys have seen this before. This is called doenjang. And you can find this in a Korean supermarket or any other Asian supermarket. It will come in like a brown packaging. And it looks like poop. Sorry. And then we're also using the gochujang, what I used earlier. This is the red chili pepper paste or whatever you want to call it, red pepper paste, Korean style red pepper paste. So we're just going to add equal amounts of the gochujang and the fermented soybean paste at this moment. Now, depending on your own preferences, you can add more or less of each one. The gochujang has obviously the spicy flavor. It's a little bit sweeter. The doenjang has a very specific, pungent, very, very salty taste. I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest. So just experiment. Yeah. We're also adding a tiny bit of maple syrup. You can also use brown sugar if you please. And I also decided to add some hemp seeds just because I had some around and they're supposed to be really good for you. But that's obviously not very traditional and that's totally optional. Okay, and I'm also adding some ground flax seeds. That is also very much not traditional and totally optional. I'm just, adding some things in there just to add a little oomph. My mom also likes to add some like crushed nuts in there, which makes it really good. And here I'm adding, of course, toasted sesame seeds. Once again, this part is optional, but I would say highly recommended. Now, it is supposed to be a thick paste, but I did decide to thin it out just a little bit. And I'm also adding a tiny bit of sesame oil, of course, toasted sesame oil. And we're going to mix that up. Now, depending on how thick you want it, you can add a little bit more water. But remember that it is supposed to be a relatively thick paste. And you could buy this directly in a Korean store, so you don't have to actually make it. But I don't know why, but I just find the homemade versions a lot better for some reason. And then we're just going to transfer this into a small container and I'm just going to keep this in the fridge. Now this lasts a very long time in the fridge, okay? So I'm talking months and months. So you don't have to worry about it really going bad. Same with the last sauce I showed you. That's also going to last in the fridge. And probably even the first sauce, although traditionally we don't really keep the sesame oil and salt sauce in the fridge. I don't know, like it's just kind of something we just make a little bit of every time we want to eat just because it's so easy to make. But anyways, I like to use this sauce to dip it with vegetables, like fresh vegetables, especially cucumber. Cucumber is like my favorite thing to dip into the sauce. When I was young, I actually didn't even like cucumbers unless I dipped them in this sauce, which I can't explain it, but yeah, I just did not like them unless I ate them with the sauce. So try it out. I really think that cucumbers and this sauce is like a match made in heaven. Okay, so here's a little example of how you can make a little lettuce wrap with some of the sauces that I made. Okay, so we got the sesame oil sauce and we got the last sauce called samjang. So we're taking a big piece of lettuce, adding a little bit of rice, and we're gonna take a piece of fried tofu, dip it in that sesame oil and salt mixture, add that into the little rice wrap, and then we're gonna add just a small amount of the samjang and we're gonna wrap it up and we're gonna stick it in your mouth. Yeah. that is it, you guys. That is how to make 3 different types of Korean sauces, and you can use them for whatever you please. I really hope you guys try these out. These are so good and so handy to have in the fridge. And stay tuned because I have some more Korean videos coming up. If you enjoy Korean food, I have a bulgogi sauce recipe video coming up, which is basically like the perfect stir-fry sauce, and it is so good. Trust me, you will never need another stir-fry sauce in your life. So stay tuned for that, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video and other videos in the future. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!